In Karnataka, a controversy has been ongoing involving the Waqf Board and local farmers, particularly around alleged encroachment notices that stirred unrest in Vijayapura. This issue gained momentum after farmers in Honvada village received a letter stating that ancestral land could be reclassified under Waqf control, leading to concerns about land rights and ownership. This has taken a political toll too, with the opposition BJP relentlessly protesting against the Siddaramaiah-led Congress government. The Chief Minister has asked the notices to be withdrawn and said that no one will be evicted.
ವಿಜಾಪುರದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ರೈತರನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಒಕ್ಕಲಿಪ್ಸಲ್ಲ. ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತಾ? ರೈತರು ಒಂದು ವೇಳೆ ನೋಟಿಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ರೆ ಆ ನೋಟಿಸನ್ನು ವಾಪಸ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಒಂದು ವೇಳೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ರೆ ವಾಪಸ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ.
But what exactly happened that has led to this controversy? Let us talk to a senior journalist, Shivasundar, who is familiar with the matter to understand what exactly is happening with the Karnataka Waqf Board controversy.
Thank you so much, sir, for joining us again.
Thank you.
And please help us understand what is this controversy regarding the Waqf Amendment Bill that's happening in Karnataka right now. Why is there so much chaos?
So there is no bill or any new law being implemented here in Karnataka. This is an old act here, and all of a sudden, for the last 2 months, say at least a month before, there has been raging controversy that the Congress government, which is actually appeasing the Muslims, have been transferring the lands belonging to the farmers to the Waqf Board. So to understand the controversy, we should understand what is Waqf and when did this Waqf Board came into existence and what is its relevance in present politics. As you all know, Waqf is a kind of donation, a gift, a charity-based kind of donation given in the name of Allah for the larger purpose of the community. In fact, especially for the downtrodden within the community, to actually construct kabristan or say, for example, build idgas, dargahs, masjids, or give scholarships. It will be in both the forms. It will be both mobile and immobile. It will be in the form of land or a kind of some kind of amount given to them, etc. So it is also the belief that not only belief, now it is a law that if once is being donated as a work by very definition is stop. Now it is a final end. You cannot further lease it or further purchase it. So once a work is always a work. That is the norm. So whichever is given as a charity or a gift to any particular community purposes, that cannot be sold to anybody. It can be leased. It can be also used for different purposes, but the ownership remains with Allah. And it will be used for the issues or the kind of intentions of the donor. So that is the larger purpose. And historically, right from say for 1,000 years, maybe more, there has been different kind of gifts given by different people within the community. The major part of the work property actually constitutes by the gifts given by the community members itself. The rich nobles who are within the community had actually given out their properties for the larger welfare of the community, and there are also part of the land parcels which are given by the then rulers, kings, maybe Mughals, sultanates, and even the Hindu kings also have donated for both the temples and the masjids. So these all together constitute waqf as a kind of property, waqf property. So to manage this, actually a Waqf Board came into existence during the kind of British. In fact, after the 1857 First War of Indian Independence, the East India Company was taken over by the Victorian Empire, and the empire did not want to actually involve in the cultural and religious practices of the natives of the country, because they thought that this will actually enrage the people against the empire. But then it was actually the Brahmin priests of the Tamil Nadu temples who wanted the British Empire to dwell into their conflicts and the clashes and to resolve it for them. It was in the late 19th century. So then onwards, British again actually entered in their own modern kind of laws, etc., to intervene and settle the disputes. And as an extension of that, even the property disputes or the work properties were also actually started to be managed, the secular part of it, in the sense the property, management of the property, property so that there is no corruption, there is no bribery, these kind of things, ownership, succession, etc. The secular part of the religious affairs of the administration, etc. So then 1934 onwards, during the British time only, there was Waqf Board, etc. And they actually wanted to actually list the number of work properties and whom should be managed, etc. As we
The
know,
database must have
database.
been
There is a mutawali who will be either elected or nominated to manage, not to own, to manage the property in the interest of the donor. That is the largest thing. Post-independence, after 1950, Waqf became the state subject. In fact, every state has its own laws. The Endowment Charitable Act for the Hindu temples and the Waqf Act for the Muslims. In fact, in 1964, a Waqf Act was actually promulgated in Karnataka, and in 1974, the whole process of listing the Waqf properties started. So likewise, there were many properties in the name of Inam land, there are properties in the name of actually donors, etc. But we had, in fact, the larger vision of the constitution is equitable distribution of the resources. So there were, even the Hindus actually had this, what you call as Brahmadaya and Devadaya. Brahmadaya is the gift and the charity given by the rulers to the Brahmins. And Devadaya is the huge tracts of land given to the temples for its administration and for its kind of its own property. But then the whole vision of the constitution and the freedom struggle actually envisioned a kind of society where there will be equitable distribution of the resources. That's why we had Inamti Abolition Act, and then we had the Land Acquisition Act, Land Reforms Act in 1967, which was further amended in Karnataka. It was amended during Devaraj Aras's government in 1974. But nowhere in the country, especially in few states like Kerala, West Bengal, and some parts of Karnataka, Land Reforms Act was actually implemented in its full spirit. But anyway, Inamti Abolition Act was actually implemented. And due to that, most of the properties which was given as a inam by the different rulers were actually taken away by the government and distributed among the tenants. That was one part. So now there is an encroachment. There is a huge property, huge land. There is an encroachment, both within the community. In fact, it is said that there are more than 17,000 cases in different courts, from lower court to the higher court in Karnataka. Most of it is a dispute between the Muslims. There is an encroacher, and the Waqf Board actually claims its property back, and it is actually going on in the Waqf Board and also in the high courts actually. So likewise, there is also encroachment by the farmers. Or they're traditionally tilling without knowing that it is a Waqf property. Even the Waqf Board did not know that it was a Waqf property, etc. This happens. So even on the temple land and the lands belonging to Mutt also, there are tenants who are cultivating. So now this is the status quo. In the sense, it is said that there are almost some 9.5 lakh acres of land in the name of the Waqf all over the India, and it is wrongly campaign that it is number 3rd owner of the land next to railways and defense. It is wrong. In fact, only Tamil Nadu and Andhra, the temple land is more than 10 lakh acres. Since you have a tabulation of the landed property among the Waqf, you know the figure. For the temple land, you have the tabulation in Andhra. What I mean is not even undivided Andhra. The separated Andhra and Tamil Nadu. The temple and Mutt land amounts to kind of 9.5 lakh acres of land. So it is wrong to say that it is the 3rd biggest owner of the properties. That anyway, in Karnataka, it is said that Waqf land amounts to around 1,12,000 acres, out of which only 20,000 acres is left with the Waqf Board. There are different kind of takeover by the Waqf land. For example, Inamti Abolition Act actually took over some 60,000 acres of land. Land Acquisition Act, Land Reforms Act actually took away some 20,000 acres. Government actually acquired land, Waqf land for different purposes to the tune of some 3,000 acres. So together, out of 1,12,000 acres, some 90,000 acres has been taken away, and what is left is only 20,000 acres. There's an estimated figure of say some 6,000 acres of encroached land. So there has been Waqf Board Amendment Acts right from 1995, 2002, 2012 to see that encroachment is stopped and the property is taken back by the Waqf property, and also to govern the property without corruption. These were the two noble objectives by the hitherto Waqf Amendment Acts. Now the new amendment act that is being proposed by the BJP government at the center is to
The bill.
encroach, not to stop the encroach. It is the government encroach of the Waqf
Correct.
land. The purpose is completely different. But here again, there are many court orders which say to the effect that once a Waqf is always a Waqf, and Waqf Board has all the rights to take back its properties. Likewise, whenever there is a Waqf Adalat, so for example, Waqf Adalat is something, it's an informal kind of court. There will be a tabulation of how many land is encroached and a notice is given. It is a regular and routine practice implementing the 1995 Act. And by now we already know that BJP also has done that during its regime, and Congress also has done that in its regime. The larger question, which we shall discuss in the near future, what will be the fate of the farmers, is the question which should be compassionately and with all sympathy and empathy that should be discussed. That's a different question. But this is not a communal question. That is the first thing that we should understand. This is a kind of ownership, the question of ownership of the land, which has been enjoyed hereditarily, which has been as a tradition, is given the right. The right is given to the Waqf Board. It is also honored by the post-independent constitution and the laws. So the encroachers are given a notice, and there is a procedure to that. There is a popular myth propagated by the BJP saying that if a notice is given by the Waqf Board, it is given to them. There is no process of litigation or adjudication, which is very wrong.
There is a myth also that Waqf Board cannot go to judiciary,
That
or
is
the
total.
government is not,
See,
they don't have the order to take care of it.
exactly. See, Waqf Board is a tribunal. So there is a Waqf tribunal. Tribunal is formed by Tribunal Act. Any tribunal order, whatever may be its scope, any tribunal order is subjected to Article 226 or by any act which is subjected to judicial intervention at the High Court and the Supreme Court level. So no tribunal is independent of the judiciary. So that is a wrong thing.
Yeah.
And in a very recent verdict in 2024 March, the High Court single judge bench has clearly given an order saying that just by a notice given by the Waqf, it does not mean that the land becomes Waqf. There will be a litigation. There will be adjudication. The documents will be shown. Tribunal at the first instance will look into that. If nothing is, if it is not satisfied, you can come to High Court. There are already some 917 cases pending in the High Court as such, and some 3,000 cases pending in the lower courts, and some 5,000 cases pending in the Waqf Board. Waqf Tribunal. So that is a long and short of the actual facts. Now, the present scenario is that Waqf Adalas is being conducted by Zamir Ahmad Khan. Now he is the minister for the Waqf, etc., and also
Minority minister,
minority welfare, etc. The Waqf Adalat wants to actually adjudicate the thing. So likewise, there was a Waqf Adalat in the Vijayapura where it came to their notice that earlier they had some 14,000 acres of land belonging to the Waqf Board, out of which now only 883 acres are left. Now there was a notice given to different, some 143 notices were given, and there was a mistake done by a Tashildar in a taluka by name called Indi. There, without giving notice, Tashildar had actually mutated. That is called mutation. The name of the owner has been changed to Waqf. That was taken up and that was duly recognized and that was changed. But now the whole campaign that is done by the BJP is that Congress, following its policy of appeasement, wants to grab the farmers' land and give it to the Waqf Board. This is completely communalizing the issue. There has been administrative lapses in giving the notice, which is duly recognized by the government, and government is irresponsible to an extent in allowing that. That should be said. But now they have actually retracted from that.
Yeah, at least the chief minister said that.
The chief minister said, and they have made a committee and all orders, and even the mutation that has been recorded into the RTC record has been withdrawn. So that thing is settled. And there is a place called Honvada in Vijayapura district, where the BJP said that there are 1,200 acres of farmers' land is being acquired, which is totally wrong. Tejasvi Surya, to that effect, wrote a letter to the Joint Parliamentary Committee also, which is very wrong. It came out that only 10 acres belongs to the Waqf property, and there has been a confusion. It is not with out of the year they said that. Prior to 1974, that was actually documented as a Waqf, but after 1978, knowing that it is not Waqf, that was changed. By using 1974 notification, they have been doing all hallaguli. That is the broad issue. The issue is about a landowner who knowingly or unknowingly cultivating the land belonging to or not belonging to the Waqf. And there is a
Property
dispute.
dispute.
That's a property dispute, which there is a process. There is an executive process and there is a judicial process to settle it. So it is incidental that the owner happens to be the claimant, happens to be a Waqf, which is a Muslim institution, and a farmer happens to be a Hindu. It is incidental. So I think that has been continuously communalized for the and polarized for the issues of elections, which is the three by-elections are happening in
Yeah.
Karnataka.
So do you think it is going to impact that, especially the by-elections, also the broader, the Maharashtra and Jharkhand elections that are upcoming now?
Absolutely not in a big way. So the only plank on which BJP is trying to win over its election, to an extent they are successful also, is on the basis of communalism. And this will be one more talking point. Not that immediately it will be polarizing the whole Hindu farmers, etc. There will be one more talking point. And as such, there is no such incident taking place in the three constituencies where the elections is going to take place, Sandur or Shiggaon or Chenpatna. There are no such incidents. So there is no immediate impact. But now that the Waqf Amendment Bill is pending there, JPC is coming. I mean, the session is going to take place from November 27. They are going to make this as an issue, claim that they are the champions of the Hindu cause and Hindus are victims and Congress is the aggressor. They are appeasing the Muslims. That is the same old story that they have been continuously trying to do. This will be one more scoring point to them. But Congress is not only foolish, Congress is also not, it is also irresponsible in these things in which they cannot, unless they are actually, even Siddaramaiah, only after the whole thing went to the Lokayukta High Court, then only he gave back his 14 sites. He would have done that long back. So they are giving all kind of opportunities for the BJP to bang them. That is the issue.
Also, sir, what about the farmers now? Like you've already mentioned, at least as of now, we know that the orders are taken back. But it seems to be a pattern. It's not the first time that the land is being encroached, like you said. And I think in Tamil Nadu, this had happened, that farmers' land was taken as work. What does it mean, especially for those who are assuming that they don't even know? Like a lot of farmers here in Vijayapura did not even know that the property belongs to work. What does it mean for them, and how does this impact them? What could be the solution for that?
It is a little complicated issue. Why? Because let me start with, it is not an issue related to a particular Muslim Waqf. For example, in Andhra, there are 4.2 lakh acres of land belonging to temples, out of which 83,000 acres of land is encroached, according to the Andhra government. The Deputy Chief Minister of the Andhra, Pawan Kalyan, he has become new Sanatan hero nowadays, and he is on record saying that he would liberate all the 83,000 encroached land, give notices to farmers. Likewise in Tamil Nadu. In Orissa, notices have already been given to 6,000 farmers of Puri temple land. In Andhra again, in Mantralaya, where there is Raghavendra Mutt, some 200 acres of land where tenants were cultivating, the notice is given. The problem here with, so these are the lands in the name of the temple, and they are the tenants, and the Hindu lords, the gods themselves, are also giving the notice. So that is the hypocrisy of the BJP. BJP should come out clearly whether they will also oppose the notices given to the temple tenants. That is one thing. But Waqf has a problem. For example, Waqf property on many occasions, it is given on oral commitment. There is no documented evidence where most of the properties, that is the biggest problem, is the new Waqf Amendment Bill also, which says that within 6 months period, they have to provide some kind of documentation. Some 50 to 60% of the Waqf properties do not have any documentation. Now what they will do? So now if the Waqf property is given, really donated, now there is a conflict of interest. First and the foremost, if the farmers are tilling the land, and if Waqf by definition is a charity, so charity should be extended to them. So that is one kind of solution. Second thing, that should not be generalized to say that just just because they cannot provide document, since it was a oral committee. You have Waqf by user, for example. So whether that will culminate in withdrawing all the lands where the documents by the Waqf is not given is another larger question. All said and done, small farmers, if they are cultivating in the land, Waqf board and the farmers and the government and all the interested parties should actually sit and discuss and resolve an issue. And if it is discussed with sympathy and empathy of both the Waqf and the farmers, there should definitely be a resolution. And
But is
finally,
that a possibility? Because it's not, it's going on for years now. The
it is not
land
going on for
problem.
years. For example, the notices are new,
Yeah,
for
the notice,
example.
this
And
notice is new.
yeah, new, and there is no indexation, what is called indi. Yeah, that is mutation has not taken place in many lands. It is just left like that, because even Waqf board does not have a kind of documented evidence
Documentation,
to say
yeah.
that it is their property.
Mm.
So both the parties need sympathy,
Hmm.
largely speaking, because more than the past and the myth, etc., the existence, the present reality are to be considered. And finally, there are big encroachments. To give an example, the Antalya is the 24 building mansion of Ambani. That Antalya itself is built on the Waqf land. It is an encroached land, for example. So such big encroachers should be questioned. There are Muslims also. There are five-star hotels which give only 5,000 or 50,000 rent per
Yeah.
year. So there is a corruption here. Again, big Muslim rich and the Muslim elite are making a lot of money through this. That's a different question. They are to be actually properly dealt with, not the small farmers.
Hmm.
I think the wisdom of the community will work there, and the government should also help them to resolve this so that it is not communalized. And definitely, large encroachers by the elite, encroachment by the elites should be dealt in a different way, because finally, whatever the proceeds of that encroachment or the proceeds of the Waqf board should be used for the larger welfare of the downtrodden within the community.
Yeah.
It is a noble
The
cause
whole
again.
idea of Waqf should be
Exactly.
maintained.
Exactly.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.